All right, so today I want to talk to you about R32. I've been getting a lot of questions about the R32 units on the VRV scene, so let's just go through it really quickly. Some changes coming down the pike, guys. I know that you're not super happy about it, and neither am I, but hey, this is the industry, and we're rolling that direction. How many VRV models are currently available by Daikin to install that are R32 currently in the US market? And that number is four. This is a really long pause for dramatic effect there. You've got the round flow cassette, which is now an AA, right? VJU, FXFA, right? No longer FXFQ. The A is for the new revision R32 unit. We also have the wall-mounted R32 unit, which actually just rolled out today. AAVJU, which is another FXAA. Remember FXAQ. So we've got wall mount, multi-positional air handler. We have an FXTA, AAVJUD. A lot of letters there. Back to the letter A. And then last but not least, we have an FXA, right? Instead of the Q, FXSQ. We are FXSA, AAVJU. These are your R32 units. And then again, surprise, I lied. It's actually 5 units. You've got your high static ducted, which is now your FXMA instead of your FXMQ. Now, these are all your R32 units. Now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 units. Now, it's really boring. Who cares about any of that stuff? Let's get into the meat and potatoes of what I'm really here to watch and look at, right? You come here looking at these videos for a reason, and that reason is because you want to know the new things that are coming down the pike. Okay, so let's talk about refrigerant sensors. What are they, right? They go in the return air. They're located down here at the bottom. Let's do some highlighting. You know I can't stay away from this pen, guys. Right there, yes, in the bottom left-hand side, there's a refrigerant sensor. It says front facing out. This is a sensor that has wires, as you can see, that go up and back around, loop-de-loop and pull, because you can never have too many wires. Now, this is the slim, not slim ducted, but the vertical fan coil, right? Can be installed in multi-positional. This is your older version of the FXTQ, the Goodman style unit. But there are some important changes here that you need to notate. Now, this goes across the board. All R32 indoor units have refrigerant sensors, which means that the boards are going to look a little bit different. How much different are they actually going to look? This is the cabinet for the vertical position fan coil. Now, you notice here we have 2 boards instead of the 1. Now, if you're used to the older FXMQs and the SQs, remember we already had 2 boards because we had one for the fan motor, we had one for the actual main control that spoke the language. Something to notate here, 2 transformers. They give you a lot of service room, guys. I don't know what you guys are complaining about. This is great. A1P board top left, A2P board on the bottom right. Your service connections are down here on the bottom right as well, as you can see. Not crazy difficult to get to, but probably really difficult. Dip switches in the back. Don't worry about those. Who needs those? You've got your little accessory jumper here. Yes, that's where your condensate switch is supposed to go. You're not supposed to break the communication wires. Oh, yeah, and by the way, we call them something else now. It's not F1, F2. It's H1, H2, because remember with the R32 equipment, we went away from D3 net and we went to D4 net. I know there's a lot here, guys. There's a lot to unpack. A lot of things that you can get angry about, and write Daikin or your local FSM or RTSM about these changes and how upset you actually are. Now, this is the board layout, okay? More boards, more gooder, more things to go wrong, more things to troubleshoot, more accessories, more plugs. What are we really looking at here? So let's go to the wiring diagram. Love me a good wiring diagram. You know me. Okay, electrical connections here on the top left. Solid dark wires are your high voltage. Go over to your fan motor. It's an ECM motor. 4 wires for that ECM motor. Here are the red things that I want to call out. First of all, H1, H2. Important here. Remember, we went away from the F1, F2. If you're putting in a system that has an H1, H2 on an F1, F2, it will not work, right? D3 net and D4 net are not cross-compatible. They're different languages for a reason. And so here you have the change. So we've got your P1, P2, H1, H2, T1, T2. Okay, normal stuff. Humidifier option, air cleaner option, external contact, economizer 1, economizer 2, because, for those bougie clients. And then your output for on-off control. That's not all, though. Let's move over to the other side where you have your leak detection outputs. Now, not every indoor unit has these additional sensors like this vertical fan coil does. You'll notice here that we've got a KRP relay built into this board here, which is kind of nice. Don't have to buy an accessory, although there is an accessory, which we'll show you here in a second. This is the leak detection terminals. As you notice, you have normally open, you have normally closed. I said those backwards because I'm dyslexic. And then you've got your common terminal wire. You also have your other wires here, which is your high voltage in that comes through 24 volts from your transformer. I say high voltage, that's not high voltage, that's coming in from another side there. This is your low voltage, right? This is your normal low voltage that powers this board. Again, nothing crazy here from what I can see, from what I can tell. You know, you've got your communication, you got your DS1, DS2, DS3, DS4, your learn button. This is a lot like the board that you see in the Daikin Fit. And then you get over here to your A1P board. You got your expansion valve coil plugged in over here. You've got your sensors that are plugged in here, temperature, liquid side, gas side, remote thermistor if you had the option that you wanted to add to it. And then you've got your trusty capacity adapter because maybe you bought the wrong size unit and you want to change it on the fly, which, yes, you can actually do. Your A2L sensors down here in the bottom left-hand side. This is a 4-wire sensor that goes down to the bottom. Let's keep rolling with the punches, as the kids say. I don't think anybody actually says that. If we go back here to the first tab, let's go up and look at the A2L sensor, which is actually down here. I say up when I actually mean down. There's that H1, H2 you guys can see here. Transmission wiring. It's the same thing, daisy chain, nothing crazy. Everybody loves some push pin connectors for T1, T2. But let's get down to the meat and potatoes of the new stuff. The new stuff is the A2L sensors. When we talk about A2L sensors, we're talking about refrigerant mitigation sensor that's built into the unit that comes from the factory. This is something that is new that we're not used to. And so, of course, there's field settings. And so with having different accessories landed in here with the system, whether it's an outside air damper, whether it's a UV light, whether it's an external controller, there is a way to test that refrigerant sensor. And when we say refrigerant sensor, you can tell the system, hey, act as if you tripped, and then see if the accessories that you wired in actually function. So here we go, right there. So mode 49, right? We use this code for single indoor unit. 39 is for groups. Code 4, and then it's off from the factory. Should be, right? Shouldn't be tripped. I can turn it on for 60 minutes. I could turn it on for 120 minutes. I could turn it on for 180 minutes. This lets me test the unit as if it went off on a trip from sensing an A2L refrigerant in the system. Do the accessories do what they're supposed to? You're going to find this is something that's going to be required in certain applications where inspectors want to see, hey, I know you have it wired up to open an outside air damper, to send off a siren, to report back to an alarm panel. Does it actually do that? Here's the test that you're going to do here in the system to make it happen right there. And yeah, that's most of it. Accessories. Yes, accessories. We have a new accessory here that I'd like to show you, which is the BRP9A7X. What a lovely name, right? They couldn't give these nicknames. This is basically an accessory contact connection that goes back to the wiring diagram here on your X40A, right here on your A1P board. This is an accessory contact that allows you to do a couple things. It allows you an external contact for an alarm right here for X11 and X12. And it also allows you to do on-demand ventilation. So if you want to tie this to an external exhaust fan, if you want to tie it to a exhaust fan and a shaft, daisy chain them all together, you've got the 4 contacts right there. And again, X11, X12, X13, X14. These are going to be those field supplied accessories that you have to use in order to do whatever it is your specification sheet says they want you to do, whether they want you to tie it to an exhaust fan in the room and turn the exhaust fan on to purge the room, whether they want it to go to an indoor alarm system to send off a buzzer, an LED light, or whatever have you. This is going to be that accessory control that you can tie to it. This is that ventilation and alarm adapter that needs to be installed. Now, there is a fancy case that it comes with it that you can install as an accessory outside the unit. Remember, not all indoor units need it. If you're going to go back and use that relay that we showed here, the leak detection output, remember that these relays are rated for a small amount of actual current draw in there. So you don't want to just go in and, like the Daikin ones, we learned very, very the hard way. Let's just put it that way. We learned the hard way. You can't run anything with a serious load through a Daikin 1 accessory contacts. It burns thermostat out because the relay that's in it is not designed to handle that kind of load. So when we talk about that, you have to remember that this board is not sized to handle that load either. And so we should always be breaking something or a control source with a rib relay or some kind of isolation relay that can handle that actual draw of current that we're breaking. Again, I'm a fan of breaking neutral wires, common wires, just to avoid that. But, to each their own. Just know that you're not going to be using this main control board as your source if your current is, well, let's be honest, anything above 0. Now, it does do a little bit of things, but just remember that always needs to come to the forefront of your mind. So that's it. So refrigerant mitigation sensors that are designed to run the fan. We've got a serious lineup now of 5 indoor units for VR32. They're talking about selling them and rolling them out here, September, October. They just released the product marketing news for it. And so it's on its way, guys. So you're going to see more and more of this stuff. Now, it's the same simple setup that we're used to and all the other normal stuff. Remember, when we talk about refrigerant mitigation within a space, it's usually just killing the cooling cycle, running the fan. And with that, there's always a few other additional caveats when it comes to VRV, and maybe the unit that's in that space exceeds the limitation amount that you're supposed to have. And so you have to have accessory contacts to run fans, to purge, to ventilate, to alarm. It's nothing crazy. Just know that some of the indoor units do have that ability already built into the board, and some of them do not. They're not crazy complicated, but these are the big changes that we're going to be seeing. And as I get some more information about D4 comms, I will present them to you. Still waiting on things to roll out on that side of things. But all in all, these are the R32 changes to VRV, guys. It's not crazy. It's not stupid complicated. And it is going to be a lot of fun sticking your hand in these new cabinets. So I guess I will see you guys on the next video. Let me know what you think. Are you afraid of it? Are these changes more than you can take? Or are you going to finally quit and go do something else with your life? Maybe. I don't know. Me too. Send me a message, drop me a comment, share, like, subscribe, all those good things. Talk to you guys later.